Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of On The Mark. I'm your host, Mark Brantley, and I hope to be here with you this evening from 8 o'clock until 10. And, of course, at some point, we hope that we get to the best part of the show, which is your calls and the topics and issues that you have that you would want to put on the table. Good evening to the people here on the island of Nevis, those in St. Kitts, those who are listening throughout the Caribbean. Good evening to our friends and family in the United States, in Canada, in the United Kingdom. Wherever you are, I pray and hope that you are well and that you're having a good evening. For those tuned in already, thank you very much for being a part of the show, and we look forward to others tuning in, whatever your medium may be, whether it is social media or alternatively. If you're listening the old-fashioned way on the radio, that's okay too. Welcome. This is Von Radio, the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, 860 on your AM dial, and we are here each and every week discussing matters that are of interest to the people of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Let me start the show this evening by extending a warm invitation to all who are able. This coming Sunday, the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School is having its annual relay competition at the Mondo Track facility there in Long Point. They're inviting one and all to come out. The action starts at 1 o'clock. They say $5 for children, $10 for adults. They're going to have all of the primary schools and some schools from St. Kitts in a massive athletic competition. We ask you to go out and support this worthy cause. These schools do a lot to generate monies to assist the students, assist the school functioning, and we really like the fact that they try to help themselves, and so we urge you, please, to go out and be a part of that. Just this past Monday, we had the opening of the Charlestown preschool. Some say refurbished. It looks to me like we can say brand new, because based on what I have seen there and based on the comparisons of what was, we really have done a phenomenal job. I want to say kudos to the Honorable Troy Liebert, who championed this project. Kudos, of course, to his entire team, his permanent secretary, Zanella Claxton, of course, the PO, Londa Brown, and the construction teams that made this possible. Having been there and seen it, I can say that those instructors, supervisors, the children themselves all seem so much happier. They have now proper facilities there. That school, I'm told, is 41 years old. So it was time for them to get a new school. And so we were very, very pleased that we could deliver that. And we are the government that delivers. We are the party in government that has always delivered. And I'm pleased that we were able to deliver that school for those who work there and those who, more importantly, learn there. And so we say thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had, unfortunately, an outbreak of hand, foot, and mouth disease here on the island of Nevis. It affects mostly our children, it seems, particularly those in preschool and primary school. And we are asking, of course, parents to exercise vigilance. We know children tend to be very tactile, they love to touch, and that's one of the ways it spreads. So please ensure that you are keeping the environment clean, that children are being asked to wash their hands with soap and water, and to do so frequently, and of course to, much as possible, keep their hands out of their mouths. If your child is showing some symptoms, then we are asking you to keep your child home from school, so that, of course, the disease doesn't spread any further. The Ministry of Health, working with the Ministry of Education, has been very vigilant on this. I want to thank them for their vigilance. Just tonight on my way here, I heard a new PSA that has been put out by our Health Promotion Unit. It's telling you all that you need to know about this disease. Thankfully, in the most cases, I'm told it is not fatal, but nevertheless, we can't take any disease for granted, and so we urge our people to do what is necessary. Our schools have from time to time been closed. I know that we've had to close some of our preschools just to ensure that we contain the spread of this particular disease. And so we invite one and all to do what is the right thing to do. If you have your children at home, we've had reports of some parents seeing symptoms but still sending the children to school, claiming that they don't have anyone to hold the children or anyone to leave the children with. we're asking you please to make better arrangements than that, than to put other children at risk. Let us work together, look out for each other, and protect this island from this particular disease. Tonight we got the very tragic news, ladies and gentlemen, that our Coast Guard would have apprehended a vessel and found some dead bodies in this vessel. Apparently it was a vessel that was just floating out at sea. We don't yet have any details, but this is very, very sad. Of course, my suspicion is that these may well have been migrants attempting to go from one place to the next. And so it's a sad thing always when people are so desperate that they resort to what is clearly a reckless undertaking in order to try to get a better life. And so we extend condolences, of course, to their families, albeit we don't know who they are yet. And this is very sad indeed, that we can have this type of occurrence still happening in this world. A world with plenty, a world with so much, a world where wealth is so considerable, and yet a world where there is so much suffering and so much pain. And so we need, as always, to try our very best to be kind and gentle and to look out for each other and to ensure that where possible we can lend a hand. Those who can should lend a hand, and that, I think, is an important lesson. So we send our prayers and thoughts out. Let me also take some time to send our prayers and thoughts to those who might be suffering in some way, those who may be ill, hospitalized. I would want to send especially special prayers to those who are at the Alexandria Hospital, and we pray that God will protect and cure you of whatever illness, and that you may be back out and in good nick in good time. And so we extend our thoughts to those, for those who are celebrating birthdays, anniversaries, whatever it may be. Happy birthday, happy anniversary, and we pray that you continue to be blessed and you continue to have God's abundant mercies upon you. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't propose to be overly long this evening in terms of my soliloquy, but I wanted to have a conversation because in the past few weeks the youth of Nevis have been in the spotlight. The youth of Nevis have been in the spotlight in part because there has been some effort to denigrate and attack them from the Nevis Reformation Party. And the CCM and the government have responded by saying that is not the way to go. More importantly, youths themselves have responded and have indicated that they have a part to play in national development and should be given the opportunity to play their part. I have not shied away from our responsibility. In fact, it is our ethos as a party and as a government that our people matter most, that our people must be at the center of everything we do. And when I say our people, I mean all of our people. This is not to say that everybody will be satisfied with our efforts, but certainly that is our guiding light and our guiding principle. And we are firm in our view that when Nevisians go abroad or go wherever they go and qualify, they get their education, they get their certification, they get their qualifications, and they come back, that they ought to be given every opportunity in Nevis. That they ought not to be told, as some seem to be willing to tell them, that they must sit at the back of the bus and wait until they are old in order to get a chance. We don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to that. I became a lawyer at 24 years of age. And when I became a lawyer at that age, I was given every opportunity to work, to ply my trade, and to develop and to do well. As someone said to me recently, every expert today was once a beginner. And sometimes I hear people talk and I ask myself, well, as we say colloquially, they born big? Did they suddenly come from their mother's womb at 65, 64, whatever age they are, and with all the wisdom and experience in the world? Or did they have a time when they themselves were fresh out of university and did somebody give them a chance? Every expert was once a beginner. And our job as the older members of the community is not to denigrate and bash and insult our youth, but to encourage them. And that's exactly what we in government will continue to do. Now, as part of that encouragement, we have constantly constantly and relentlessly advertised opportunities for our young people. What are those opportunities? Of course, they're jobs. And when they rise, the Department of Labor has started this job employment agency, and they advertise whatever jobs are available. We continue to encourage employers, when you have jobs available, please take the information to the Department of Labor. They will put it out for you. They will vet candidates for you, and they will get you people for those jobs. We also, of course, continue to train and to offer training opportunities and to partner with institutions and organizations across the world, countries across the world, that offer training to our people. The lament that has come is that many of our people do not take advantage of these opportunities. There's an old saying that you can take a horse to water, but you can't make that horse drink. Well, we're trying to take our people to the appropriate place, and we're asking our people, when you get to the appropriate place, please, for God's sake, take advantage of the opportunities. One of the things that grieves me, and continues to grieve me most grievously, is the fact that our people, many of whom cannot really afford to, but they go to the banks, they borrow money to send their children away to school. They get significant student loans. And then when those young people are finished, for the first 10 years, 12 years of their working life, their money is going to pay in loans. And I keep asking myself, well, why is it that we're opting for borrowing money when there are so many scholarship opportunities and financial assistance opportunities available that we are not applying for? And so tonight I want to take some time to speak to some of these opportunities. I am pleased to announce, ladies and gentlemen, that the Organization of American States has put out a call for applications for scholarships. They've asked for 2025 for anyone wanting to pursue undergraduate and graduate studies. Eligible applicants must follow the outline application procedures and to do so by March 5th, 2025. The Organization of American States is offering scholarships to our students here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and they're saying that if you're pursuing undergraduate and graduate programs, so whether your first degree or your master's degree or PhD, they are asking you to apply. The deadline is the 5th of March. Then we have the University of the Virgin Islands, UVI, with campuses in St. Thomas and St. Croix. They have sent a call to all CFBC and Nevis sixth form graduates to apply for UVI scholarships. You must submit your applications and required documents by March 21st, 2025. UVI, University of the Virgin Islands, right next door in St. Croix and St. Thomas. They are inviting applications from graduates of CFBC and the Nevis Sixth Form College to scholarships to study at the University of the Virgin Islands. Many of our leading business and other figures here in the Federation have studied at UVI. We invite you to take up the offer to apply. March 21st is the deadline. Then Monroe University, having a campus there in New York. The Nevis Island Administration and Monroe College, well, it is now Monroe University, formerly Monroe College, invite St. Kitts Nevis citizens to apply for higher education scholarships. You can choose from associates, bachelor's or master's programs in New York, St. Lucia, or online. Submit your applications now. So that's Monroe University in collaboration with the Nevis Island Administration, asking for you to submit applications for study now. Edinburgh, Napier, and South Point Education International, the Nevis Island Administration, Ministry of Human Resources, and Edinburgh Napier University invites Nevisians to apply for higher education scholarships. Successful applicants can undergo affordable studies online as well. These universities are saying you not just can do it by coming on campus, they're also offering programs online. In addition to that, the government of Turkey, the country of Turkey, is opened and asks for scholarship applications for 2025-2026. They are offering bachelor's, master's, or PhD with comprehensive support. You must apply by February 20th for a chance to further your education in Turkey. For those of you, parents or students who might be listening, and if you are citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, I have just said that we have here OAS scholarships, Organization of American States. We have UVI, University of the Virgin Islands scholarships. We have Monroe University scholarships. We have Edinburgh, Napier, and South Point Education International scholarships. We have Turkey scholarships offered by the government of Turkey. If you are interested, if you want more information, I invite you please to contact the Department of Human Resources here on the island of Nevis. Their offices are right at the Social Security building, top floor, and they have a very, very talented cadre of workers there who would be delighted to assist you. They will make it easy for you, give you all the information you need, and it costs you nothing but a little effort. Again, young people, parents of young people, the OAS, Organization of American States, is offering scholarships for undergraduate and graduate studies. The University of the Virgin Islands is offering scholarships. Monroe University is offering scholarships to study in New York, St. Lucia, or online. Edinburgh, Napier University, and South Point Education International are offering scholarships, again to study on campus or online. And Turkey is offering scholarships. But that is not all. The Nevis Island Administration itself each year allocates significant resources to provide assistance to those who are seeking to study and to advance themselves. And so, I'm also pleased to advise that the Nevis Island Administration is inviting applications for higher education financial assistance for 2025. Prospective students can apply until March 21st to support their academic pursuits and contribute to the nation's development. Do not miss the opportunity. Now, one of the things that is important to those who are listening is that you note the deadlines. I have noticed in our little island of Nevis that the constant refrain from our people is that they didn't hear, is that they didn't know, is that they somehow missed the notification. I am saying to our people, learn to start to listen, to read, to pay attention. It's important. Read the papers, go on social media, do whatever you need to do. You don't need to spend all your time on TikTok or on Instagram. You must also spend time finding out what is going on right here on the island of Nevis, in our region, and in the world. It is important. Too many of our people say they don't know. And so you find people calling you in May and say, oh, when the scholarship thing gonna open? When the deadline already passed. So I'm saying here, in these few minutes that I've taken, the OAS has scholarships open now, deadline March 5th. UVI has scholarships open now. Monroe University has scholarships open now. Edinburgh, Napier University, and South Point Education International have scholarships open now. The government of Turkey has scholarships open now. And the Nevis Island Administration Financial Assistance Program is open now. And so, please, there is no excuse for you to say you don't know. There is no excuse if you want training, if you want to go abroad to study, and even if you want to stay at home and study online. There is no excuse. The opportunities are there. It is for you to take advantage of those opportunities. This government and the team at Human Resources have in fact put in the resources. not only financial, but also human resources, to ensure that when you go, you have an opportunity to speak to someone who's knowledgeable, who knows the process, and who can take you through the process. Again, the only thing that you need to give is your attention. That's all you need to give. I saw a quote recently, it says, knowledge is not free. You must pay attention. And so all that we're asking our young people to do, and their parents, because we understand that sometimes when you're just out of fifth form, out of sixth form, you're still living with your parents and there's a need for some guidance. So we're saying to parents, guide your children, send them up to human resources, find out what they have on offer, find out what your children want to do, and we will be there to assist you. And when I became Premier, we had a policy that we do not provide any financial assistance to students who are studying online. As Premier, I am pleased to say our cabinet has changed that policy. And so now, if you choose to study online, you can also get financial assistance from the Nevis Island Administration. I'm saying all these things, ladies and gentlemen, because I want to make it clear that the opportunities that we currently have in our island are at an all-time high. The opportunities for our young people to educate themselves, to get the necessary tools that they can better provide for themselves in this world, those opportunities are at an all-time high. Not only do we have jobs available, but we have opportunities for training. We have opportunities for training that are free, that allows our youth to go out and get an education at no cost to themselves or their parents. Knowledge is not free, but you have to pay attention. That is a cost. You have to pay attention. And that's all that I'm asking, encouraging our young people to do, our parents to do. Take advantage of these opportunities, please. I am pleased to report tonight that over the past 12 years, the Nevis Island Administration has proudly supported 275 young Nevisians through our financial assistance program. Investing in our youth is investing in the present and the future of Nevis, empowering them to achieve their educational and professional dreams. So the government has been doing its part in multiple ways. One, we've been securing scholarships around the world. Two, we have been providing, in addition to those scholarships, financial assistance directly to students. Three, we have put in place the necessary infrastructure at our Ministry of Human Resources so that you, when you go in, you can get competent, capable people to help you. Now, I have mentioned so far the OAS scholarships, University of the Virgin Islands, Monroe University, Edinburgh Napier University, South Point Education International. I have mentioned scholarships from Turkey, the government of Turkey. But let me also tell you that the government of Taiwan is also asking for applications for those who want to study in Taiwan. And we have a number of very talented young people who have studied in Taiwan. Many of them are back now and making their contribution. And so Taiwan, the government there, through the ICDF and through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, has asked for applications. The last time I was in Taiwan, the St. Kitts Nevis ambassador there said to me that there was a concern that not enough Nevisians were applying. The last time I checked with the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, he said the same to me, that Taiwan had increased the number of scholarships available, but for whatever reason, Nevisians were not applying. Kittitians were applying. Kittitians were taking advantage of the opportunity in Taiwan, but somehow the people in Nevis. In fact, somebody asked me, I suppose by way of a joke, whether it is that the people of Nevis are so rich that they don't need scholarships, because we are simply not taking advantage of these opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, the government of Morocco is also offering scholarships. When I was foreign minister, I negotiated 20 scholarships per year with the government of Morocco. They too are asking, where are the applications? We want to help. We want to help in the education, the training of the young people of the Federation. And so Nevisians, let me go through them again. OS, Edinburgh Napier, South Point, UVI, Monroe. We have Turkey, we have Taiwan, we have Morocco, and we have the NIA Financial Assistance Program. That's 9 different tracks, 9 different options that I have taken 10 minutes to outline. Please pay attention. Please make the effort. Parents, encourage your young people to take that step. And I am passionate about scholarships because I was educated through scholarships. I got a scholarship from the NIA to study law, and then I got a scholarship, the Winter Williams Commonwealth Scholarship, to further my studies in law in England. So I benefited, and I'm saying to you, you can benefit too. I use the example all the time. Tom and Mary went to school together. Tom and Mary both graduated 6th form. Both did well. Tom gets a scholarship because Tom made the effort and Tom went away to Taiwan to study. He did agriculture. Mary decided, and her parents, they prefer to borrow money to send Mary, and Mary went to the United States and Mary did the same agriculture. Tom and Mary come back to Nevis as young graduates. They both get a job as graduates in the Ministry of Agriculture. Both are making $5,000 a month. But guess what? When Tom gets his $5,000, Tom can save it. Tom can decide, I'm going to buy a bit of land. I'm going to buy a small car. I'm going to invest my $5,000. Mary, when she gets her $5,000, $2,000 out of that gone to pay the loan, student loan. I use that example simply to point out that Tom, simply by getting a scholarship, is already way ahead of Mary, because in 10 years Tom would have already bought a piece of land, who knows, even maybe started to build his house. Mary in 10 years still paying student loan. These are some of the practical decisions that we as a people must take into account. Now don't get me wrong, I understand sometimes our young people say, oh, I don't want to go so far, I want to go to America, I want to go here. And for those families who can afford it, I say, more power to you. But for the families that I know have difficulty meeting the significant costs of university education, I am saying, please take advantage of these opportunities. We bring the opportunities to your attention. We provide on top of these opportunities financial assistance from the government itself. And we have put in place at Human Resources people to help you. Sometimes I hear these prospective students say, oh, the forms are difficult, the forms are long. Guess what? We have people at Human Resources who can help you, who can guide you. Go in and speak to them. Please, tell them I sent you. And find out what this little island is offering to you to advance yourself and to develop yourself. That, ladies and gentlemen, is important, and I can't emphasize it enough. Now, The fact that we've already assisted 275 youngsters, I think that that is indeed significant. And so I say thank you to all who made it possible, and thank you to the cabinet that continues to support the efforts of this government to elevate our young people. Now, since I'm talking about opportunities, some may well say, well, young people go off to study, but what about jobs? Well, the government can't hire everybody, but I'm satisfied that the private sector is growing appreciably and that we will be able to accommodate people. So, the Director of Banquets, that is now a position that's open at the Four Seasons Nevis, is responsible for overseeing all aspects of banquet operations, including planning, organizing, and executing events. The role requires strong leadership and organizational skills. Four Seasons is asking for applications for a Director of Banquets. Four Seasons is also seeking servers. These are people responsible for providing exceptional dining experiences to guests. The role involves greeting and seating customers, taking orders, serving food and beverages, and ensuring guest satisfaction. I'm going to go through a few of them. If you're out there, you're looking for work, Four Seasons is asking for applications for landscaping attendants. Perform physical labor jobs on the resort landscape, which include mowing, fertilizing, spraying, weed eating, weeding, pruning, equipment operating, and waste removal. Maintain all vehicles. Landscaping attendant. Again, they're looking for several. Let me look here and see what else. Conference Services Coordinator. The Conference Services Coordinator plays a crucial role in the success of all meetings and events held at the resort. The successful applicant will provide essential administrative support. Conference Services Coordinator. They're looking for hosts and hostesses. The role involves greeting guests, managing reservations, seating guests, and providing excellent customer service. Assist with guest seating, ensuring efficient table turnover, manage reservations, etc. These are at the Four Seasons. Let me go on. Banquet house attendant. Set up a banquet rooms with equipment for functions according to contracts received from the catering department. Clean function rooms, including but not exclusive to vacuuming, dusting, shampooing, etc. Then they want an HVAC technician. All of these are jobs at the Four Seasons. Control the performance and upkeep of all guest room HVAC systems as required or as instructed. Monitor the performance of all equipment and apparatus as and when required, and carry out the necessary repairs. You hear how many jobs I've outlined there? I'm not finished yet. They're also looking at Four Seasons for Leisure Sales Coordinator. In this role, you will support your team in functions including but not limited to golden admin, the preparation of proposals, site inspections, farm trips, seamless data input, etc. Then they're asking for applications for food and beverage supervisor. You will oversee aspects of service from guest satisfaction to staff supervision. To deliver exceptional dining experiences, train and develop a high-performing team of food and beverage staff. Ladies and gentlemen, let me count them. Let me count them. At the Four Seasons alone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 positions. Servers, hostesses, managers, HVAC technicians, landscapers, all at our prestigious Four Seasons Resort. Let me go further. I have here an ad from Lynn's Deli. Lynn's Deli says they are trying to find a head cook. Key responsibilities: prepare and present quality meals according to their menu, ensure food safety and cleanliness standards are met, collaborate with the kitchen team to create dishes, maintain inventory. Lynn's Deli, right there in the heart of Charlestown. I continue. Carrie Brewery is looking for a distribution supervisor in Nevis. The ideal candidate must have the following attributes and qualifications. They want somebody with a bachelor's degree in business or equivalent, 2 years supervisory experience in sales and distribution, knowledge of customer and market dynamics, superior skills in organizing, problem solving, etc. Carey Breweries is looking for a distribution supervisor for Nevis. Then Sequip Window Solutions, Carl Liebert. Sequip has said that they're looking for drivers, laborers, fabricators, glazers, skilled laborers interested in assembling windows and doors. Sequip is making windows and doors here in Nevis, one of our small manufacturers, and they are doing guttering as well. They are hiring drivers, laborers, fabricators, glazers, skilled persons interested in assembling windows and doors. They say to apply now. Then we have here from our own Labor Department Employment Agency. They're asking you to come in and talk to them because they're saying we need drivers, laborers, office assistant, messenger, hospitality workers. Come in and see them. Then the Nevis Electricity Company, Nevlec. Nevlec has put out an ad. Nevlec is saying that they're looking to fill the position of electrician. The ideal candidate should possess the following: vocational education, electrical or mechanical engineering, GC, CXC O level, math, English and related science subjects, minimum of 4 years job related work experience, good communication skills. Nevlec is also looking for people. Nevlec is also saying that they're trying to fill the position of a linesman. Your duty is cleaning of substations, planting poles, climbing poles, install and maintain street lights, etc. Nevlec is also looking for persons. Then AP Woodwork in Nevis saying they want 4 masons. Call them at 668-1514. Best Buy Supermarket say they need cashiers and restroom attendant. Call them at 469-0817. Kitchen helper and cook is wanted at Esme's Super 8 and Snack It. Contact Esme at 664-6446. Restaurant manager and pastry chef is wanted at Montpelier Plantation Hotel. Contact 469-3462 if you want to be a restaurant manager and a pastry chef. All of those are opportunities that are available here. Just tonight, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 different options and opportunities that I've taken the few minutes to outline. Now some out there may say, well, I don't want to be a cook or I don't want to be a server. That's okay. There can well be something there that you can do. And as I like to remind our people, you do what you need to do until you get the chance to do what you want to do. You do what you need to do until you get the chance to do what you want to do. All work is honorable once it is honest work. And so don't fight up yourself sometimes and tell yourself, oh, I don't want to do that, or what I want to do they don't have. Do what you need to do until you get the chance to do what you want to do. And I am sitting here tonight as the Premier of Nevis to tell you that long before I was a lawyer, long before I was Premier, I did every manner of work. My first job was stocking shelves at Trevor Chapman's little supermarket that he started there in Charlestown. I've always thanked Trevor for giving me that chance, because that was my very first job. I then, at the tender age of 13, I was going to the States and working, doing various things there to earn $1. I was an elevator operator. Took people up, brought people down all day. I have experienced all the ups and downs in life because my day was spent going up, going down. Elevator operator. I was a janitor. I done scrub plenty toilets, clean up plenty bathrooms. One of the hardest jobs I had to do as a janitor was to polish a brass counter that was at this building in Manhattan. It's very difficult to polish brass. That was my job. I was an electrical apprentice. I used to go to Manhattan, and the building I worked at, I would have to go outside on the sidewalk and use a tool called a scraper and get down on my knees and scrape gum off the sidewalk, because if the building owner saw any gum outside, it's not inside the building, you know, outside on the sidewalk, he would hold me responsible. And so I had to walk that whole block from 7th Avenue, go around 7th Avenue to Broadway, I think that was the block, go right around and scrape up gum off the sidewalk, have my little pan and my broom, picked up all the cigarette butts, any little bits of paper, any cans, any bottles. That was my job. I have worked as a security guard. Imagine me. Now I have a little weight, but back then I probably weighed 120 pounds, and I am a big security guard. Working in New York as a security guard. That time I'm in high school here. I have worked at the information desk at a major building in New York, and when I'm at the information desk, they used to give me what they call the graveyard shift. My time of work started at 1 a.m., 1 in the morning, and I finished at 8:30. And I always used to like that shift. People used to say, oh, they don't want a graveyard. I loved it, because when I finish at 8:30 in the morning, that's the time when fellas supposed to come into work, and sometimes fellas call in sick. And when they call in sick, the boss would ask me if I want to stay. I say, sure. So having done my shift overnight, I would stay and work that person's shift. And then you know what sometimes happens? 4 o'clock when that shift is over, somebody else calls in sick. And they ask me again, would you like to stay? I tell them, sure. And so I would work that shift now from 4 till midnight, and then start my regular shift at 1 in the morning. You know why? Because when I work them shift, they give me time and a half or double time. So I used to get overtime pay. And I used to come back here to Nevis, help my mother, have money in my pocket. All my high school, all my time at university, I worked every single year. I went up to the States and I worked. I'm saying that to say that when I was on my knees scraping gum off the sidewalk, when I was cleaning toilets, polishing brass, taking people up and down, doing what I needed to do to make $1, it was not that it was easy, but it was an honest dollar. And I, while doing that, always understood that I was on a particular path and a particular journey. And I wanted to do what I needed to do to get there. And so I did what I needed to do until I eventually got the opportunity to do what I wanted to do. And I say these things because sometimes, you know, people may now look at me and say, oh, he this or oh, he that. But everybody has a story. Everybody has a path that they have walked. Don't judge somebody because you know them now. I'm now 56 years old. So I'm no longer a young person. But when I was a young person, I did what I needed to do until I was able to do what I wanted to do. And I think that's an important lesson. That when we hear of opportunities, we grab them. It is better for you to be in a job, working, and looking for something else than to be home sitting down and saying, woe is me, nothing happening for me. Well, nothing could happen for you if you stay at home and sit down. You must get out there. You must bang on the door. If you hear an opportunity up there in Nevis Peak, you must go and look for it. Our people need to seize these opportunities, and I will say something, and I hope I am not being controversial when I say it. With the freedom of movement now within the OECS region, with the CARICOM skills, freedom of movement within the CARICOM context, with our neighbors from neighboring islands being able to come in and work without any work permit. Nobody could stop them from coming in and working. When you are home sitting down as Nevisians, as Kititians, saying, woe is me, nothing now go on for me, you could be assured that people who are coming in are grabbing those opportunities with both hands. I spoke to someone the other day who's from one of our neighboring islands, and she told me that she had two relatives decided to move to Nevis, and that they arrived in Nevis on the Saturday. They went to church on the Sunday, and on the Monday both of them got up and said they're going to find work, and by Wednesday both of them were working. You hear what I say? They came to Nevis on the Saturday, they went to church on the Sunday, and by the Wednesday both of them were working. They had jobs. And we have people sitting down here on this island keep telling you, not now, go on, me can't find nothing to do. Well, I've taken the opportunity this evening because I want to encourage our people. I want to say to our people, listen, you're not going to get anything sitting back. You have to go out. You have to put yourself in a position to benefit from the opportunities. As government, we can only create and advise of the opportunities. But you, my people, you have to take advantage of them. Tonight I spent quite a bit of time setting out educational and training opportunities, setting out job opportunities, and I'm inviting you to do what is necessary. And let me just, on that note, I speak to some young people sometimes and they say, oh, me not apply because they're not going to hire me. Well, that's like saying you didn't win the lotto because you didn't buy a ticket. You can't win the lotto unless you buy a ticket. Well, you can't get the job unless you apply. And there's an old saying that goes something like this, that if you did not apply, if you didn't ask the question, you've already told yourself no. Because if you do not apply, then there's no way that you can get the job. At least if you apply, you have an opportunity. Nobody's going to guarantee that you get the job, but at least you have an opportunity. But when you do not apply, and believe it or not, I hear so many employers complaining that they advertise and advertise and nobody applies. You know why? Because you out there want a job but telling yourself, oh, they're not going to hire me, so you don't apply. Apply. Let them tell you no, but apply. You do what is in your control to give yourself an opportunity. Secondly, a lot of our people tell me I'm not working. I say, why? There's so many jobs. They say, well, I send letter and nobody answer me. Well, you're the one who's looking for the job, you know. So if you write to TDC, if you write to Hosfords, if you write to Rams and they don't answer you, you don't just sit at home and say, nobody answer me. You follow up. You call TDC, can I speak to Human Resources, please? I sent a letter dated the 5th of January. I'm just wondering if you got it and what opportunities there may be. Hosfords, can I speak to Human Resources, please? That's what you must do. Follow up. People tell me, oh, I put a letter into government since 2002 and nobody answer me. Well, this is now 2025. So if nobody answered you for all those years, you never followed up to find out what's going on? Check to see if they received the letter? This is what we need to do. We need to go out and we need to aggressively go after what we want. And do what we need to do until we get to do what we want to do. When you imagine Nivisians and Kittitians that our forefathers left here on boats to go to distant lands like England, to go to Bermuda, to go to the United States, many of them not knowing what to expect. But they were driven. So many of them went into places like the USVI. In fact, some went illegally and all. They were driven. Driven to do what? To better themselves. You think when they went to UVI, when they went to USVI, when they went to Tortola, when they got to Puerto Rico where they couldn't even speak Spanish, they went to the UK. You think they could sit down and sit back? No. They went to work. They worked jobs, sometimes menial jobs. And they did what they had to do to better themselves. And I'm saying to our people, we need to rekindle that spirit. St. Kitts and Nevis now are full of opportunity. Full. But the opportunities are meaningless unless our people take advantage of those opportunities. Don't sit back and cry and say, oh, that person enough from ya and them get work. No. You go out there and you find work. Because work is there. You go out there and you find something to do. A lot of people say, oh, that ain't paying me enough. So they prefer to stay at home. Well, what are you getting paid when you stay at home? If the job that was offered is not paying you enough, but at least it's paying you something. But when you stay at home, the Netflix bill still got to pay. The cable bill still has to pay. Food still got to eat. But you have no income. I want our people to reflect on these things. Think on these things. Because I believe it is important that we grab the opportunities that we have available. Stop sitting back. Stop being complacent. They say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, start squeaking. Start doing what you need to do. Because there's an abundance of opportunity for training, for work, for advancement right here in Queen City, Nevis. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 5 minutes to the hour of 9 o'clock, and I'm going to take some calls for anybody out there who wants to call and be a part of the show. 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700, and we go straight to the lines and say good evening. You are on the mark.
Good night, Michelle.
Good night, my dear.
2 Corinthians 6 verse 7 and 8. By the word of truth, by the power of God, by the armor of righteousness on the right hand and on the left, by honor and dishonor, by evil report and good report, are deceived and yet true. Have a good evening. May God continue to bless all of us. Good night.
Thank you very, very much for your scripture, as always. And our first call, I'm happy that you're back to first, because you usually call me first, and I'm delighted. 5 minutes to the hour, we're taking your calls. 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call. If you're listening online, we are streaming on YouTube and also on Facebook. And, of course, we invite your comments there as well. But certainly if you want to be part of the conversation, we invite you to use the phone lines and to call in. And the second hour of the show is obviously a time for you to say what you have to say. Sometimes people wait until the last minute to call in, and then they argue and say they don't get enough time. And so this is the time. The lines are open. The lines are free. If you want to call in and make your point, then it is now your time. 869-469-1616, and 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call. While I'm waiting for the phones to ring, I raised on social media a conversation recently. I did so because I see social media as an opportunity to engage, at times to engage in what I would call almost a global town hall. Because once you're there, you have the opportunity to talk to people all around the world and to share views and opinions. And the question that I asked had to do with President Trump, the United States' new president, who from very early on has signaled that he will be deporting significant numbers of people who may be in the United States illegally. He may be in the United States, what they're referring as undocumented persons. And we know that because the United States is a close neighbor, that many of our people over the years have gone there. In fact, I've seen some news items, I don't know how accurate they are, that there's a list of 68 Kittitians and Nevisians to be deported from the United States. Let me take this call and then I come back to the topic. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Good evening, Honorable Premier.
Good evening, you're on the mark.
How are you doing, sir?
Hey, how are you doing? I catch your voice now. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing pretty good. And how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Fantastic. I called, I wanted to endorse what you were saying regarding taking up the opportunities with the scholarships, and I called particularly to make a plug for the scholarships that are being offered by the Republic of China on Taiwan, the ICDF scholarships and the Minister of Foreign Affairs scholarships. You were absolutely correct in the fact that they are trying to increase the scholarships that they're offering, and you are also correct in the fact that Vision students are not taking up the opportunity, and I'm calling to encourage our students on NEVIS to try to take up those opportunities. I would have visited Taiwan recently, and that was one of the outcries that we had in Taiwan when we made that visit. When we visited the ICDF, the persons there lamented, yes, that we do not have enough Nevisians who are studying in Taiwan. I would have been fortunate as well to visit a university where students from both St. Kitts and Nevis are studying. And the faculty there of that university, they were also complaining that we do not have enough Nevisians. The ambassador would have lamented that as well. Other Taiwanese officials would have lamented that as well. And so it is incumbent on us to try to encourage more persons to take up the opportunity to study in Taiwan. And the thing is, we have to recognize that some of these scholarship opportunities that are available, people are getting the education for free. They do not have to take a loan. And more, very importantly as well, a lot of the times you are able to learn a different language. With the world being a global village now, it is important that persons are able, and if you're able to learn a second language for free, more power to you. Because a lot of us now wish that we could speak Spanish, we wish we could speak Mandarin, because these languages are so universal. Wherever you go in the world, you go to conferences, you go to workshops, you go to seminars, and these languages are being spoken, and sometimes you feel lost because you can't speak them. And so when people can get an opportunity for free, not only to get an education, not only to get a bachelor's or a master's or a doctorate, but to be able to learn a second language that is in your favor. And of course, when people go to Taiwan, they're able to learn the Mandarin language. When people go to certain other institutions, for example, like when people go to Earth University, they can learn Spanish. I mean, I'm so happy when I see all of the students who have gone to Earth University are fluent in Spanish, very, very fluent in Spanish. And so it's not just going just to get the education, you're getting something additional. And it is important that our young people take up these opportunities. The opportunities are there, and I think the Human Resources Department does an excellent job in advertising these opportunities. But as you have said, our people are not taking up the opportunities at all, and they need to. When we go to these graduation ceremonies and we see the hundreds of persons who are graduating every year, I mean, quite a number of those persons, even before you graduate, you should have already been applying for either this Taiwan scholarship, the Morocco scholarship, the Turkish scholarship, OAS scholarship. You don't have to wait until you graduate to make the application. So I am encouraging, I am joining you and encouraging persons from the secondary schools, the sixth form college, Gingerland Secondary, Charleston Secondary, maybe sixth form college, even before you leave school. Try to figure out what you want to do in life and try to get that jump start. And as soon as you step out of college, as soon as you step out of high school, as soon as you graduate, even before you graduate, you can be on a plane going somewhere. And nowhere is far in the world now, Honorable Premier. And so that is not any good excuse to say, well, Taiwan is too far, because nowhere is far now. And even if you go on to another side of the globe, the fact is the technology is there, and you can communicate with your friends and your family every day, every minute, every hour, because the technology is there. So I mean, I don't see any good excuse to say, well, these countries are too far, Taiwan is too far, Morocco is too far. The fact is, you're going there, you get another language, you're experiencing a different culture, you're able to experience a different type of food, and that sort of thing. So it's an overall good experience for you, apart from the fact that you're getting an education for free. And so I just wanted to endorse all of what you would have said about our people taking up the opportunities, and I want to encourage our young people to try to do that. Try and go further your education, better yourself, make yourself more marketable. Because as you rightly said, Premier, and with all of the job opportunities that you have outlined there, the opportunities are here and the opportunities are growing. And we can only expect that to get better.
Well, Deputy Premier Eric Evelyn, thank you very much for your call and for the support on this. You know that I have been a tireless advocate for our people stepping up and grabbing opportunities. I know you have been a tireless advocate. In fact, every member of the government has advocated that our people take advantage. I too have been told by the Taiwanese the same thing. Not enough Nevisions. The people of Nevis need to take advantage of these opportunities. In fact, I said that somebody jokingly said to me, is it that Nevisions are so rich that they don't need the help? And I don't know that that is the case. So our people, and one of the appeals we must make is to the parents.
I was just about to say that to the parents as well.
The parents, because they need to provide the guidance to their children.
And they need to push, make that push as well.
And a lot of parents put themselves in significant debt.
Precisely.
In order sometimes to satisfy, because the child said, oh, I prefer to go to America.
Right.
But
where my friends are.
Where my friends are. But if it is that you can get that scholarship, that's why I used the example that I used earlier.
Of course.
Of two students studying, one for free, one has to pay loan. It sets you back in life. So I want our people to listen. So thank you very much for that, Honorable.
Absolutely.
Can you give us, before you go, I know you reported on the expo. Can you tell us when the expo is going to happen? People have been asking.
The Agri Expo.
Agri Expo.
Sorry, the Agri Expo, the dates have been set, and it's Thursday the 27th and Friday the 28th of March. As a matter of fact, while I speak of that as well, I can let folks know as well that registration is now open for persons who would like to operate a booth, whether you're a farmer, whether you're a craft vendor, whether you're a food provider, whatever your ornamentals, whatever you're doing. We will have space for you, and so registration is now open. You can go to the Department of Agriculture. I know a lot of folks, a lot of our divisions have this bad habit of going on the last minute, but we often open the registration early, so at least we can have an idea. We want people to register early so we could have an idea in terms of our layout and our setup. So we don't want people to wait until the last minute. We don't want you to wait until the week before the expo to come. We know that this expo has grown tremendously over the years, and we want people to register early. And so the dates for the Agri Expo is March the 27th and the 28th at the ETW Park.
Well, thank you very much for that, sir. I'm very grateful for the
Thanks
call.
for having me.
And,
Good night.
and you're always welcome to call the show. You know that because I know
Yes,
you
sir.
always have good information to impart.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. So that was the Honorable Deputy Premier Eric Evelyn sharing with us about the Agri Expo, but also, of course, encouraging our students and our young people and our parents to get their children to take advantage of these various job and training opportunities that exist here in Nevis and around the region and the world. We are open for business, we are pushing, we are encouraging, but at the end of the day, it is for our people to seize the initiative. One of the things I don't want it to be said is that under this government, there are no opportunities. And that's why tonight we took the opportunity, we took the time to set out the opportunities that exist. It is now for our people to take advantage of them. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm still inviting your calls. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. While we wait for the phone to ring, I raised the issue of the potential deportation of nationals of St. Kitts and Nevis, nationals of the Caribbean region, nationals around the world. But let me focus on St. Kitts and Nevis. I have seen some reports, I'm not sure if they're credible, that there's some 68 Kittitians and Nevisians who have been listed for deportation. President Trump has said that his first set of deportees will be criminals, that is, individuals who would have committed crimes in the United States and her territories. We have seen videos surfacing and newscasts around the U.S. saying that ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, that ICE has been making raids in the U.S., making raids even in the U.S. Virgin Islands, we are told, Puerto Rico, and trying to take people into custody for purposes of deportation. In fact, in the first major diplomatic standoff, the President of Colombia initially refused to allow military planes from the United States transporting deportees to land in Colombia. President Trump would have immediately responded by revoking his visa, revoking the visas of all of his cabinet and significant members of the Colombian government, and ordering that tariffs be placed on Colombian goods. The Colombian president then, I'm told, sent his own aircraft to the United States to bring home his people. I'll come back to that, but I'll take this call. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Good evening, Honorable Premier.
Good evening to you.
Yes, I listened to you from the beginning until now. And it's so disheartening to see that our young people are not moving up to the challenge and taking up the opportunities that are ahead of them. It is so unfortunate that, some of us, we came around too early, because these opportunities we will be glad for in our time. It's just today I went to a financial institute and they said to me, look, I don't give loan to people who are over 55. And it's so unfortunate, because people who are under 55 down below, they are not grabbing these opportunities. They are there and they are not, reaching out to them. I could remember way back in 1983, I came at your mother's house, where me and another guy, we did some work there, and I look at you and I realize that you was a guy who was going to reach to this level to where we are
to what you are right now. You know? And it's so, I mean, I want to just congratulate you because I think you are doing a very good job for the island of Nevis and for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Even though there are many people out there who feel like, I mean, you are not doing a good job, but I believe that you are doing a very good job. And so I got to congratulate you and your team for what you are doing. So continue to do the good work and keep it up in the name of Jesus.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you for your call. And I'm very grateful for what I see as the endorsement of the work that we're trying to do. I keep telling people we don't always get it right, but we keep trying. And that is important. So we continue to take your calls. 469-1616, 469-1700. So as I was indicating, ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, has been doing raids, I'm told, in the U.S. Virgin Islands, in Puerto Rico, in the United States mainland. And they're saying that their first order of business is to deport criminals, those with criminal records. Now that creates, of course, an immediate concern for us, because it means that law enforcement here has to be prepared for the possibility that those who may have learned their criminality and the sophistication of their criminality might be such that they are bringing new ideas and new criminal trends into the Federation. I have suggested publicly that it is important that our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it is important that the OECS, it is important that CARICOM get ahead of this issue, that they do not wait until there is a diplomatic crisis, as was the case with Colombia, but that we try to develop programs and policies now to address this issue. I will come back to it. I'll take this call. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Premier.
Good evening to you.
Listen, I'm calling in because I have a problem with certain areas up here in even that road to go to Butlers at Eden Brown.
Yes, I know a road there. Yes.
The road that they paved a few years ago. That place needs cleaning badly, man.
When you say need cleaning badly, meaning what? That it's overgrown?
I mean, trees going there. You got cashew tree going all the way over there. You take a drive to there. You know the road I'm talking about?
I think I know. The top of Butler's going over to Eden Brown?
Yes.
Yeah.
Take a drive to there one of these days and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay. You said the road needs cleaning, but those lands don't those lands belong to people?
Not the land, it's the road. The trees going over the road. They have a bridge there, and the bridge it just two cars can't pass at the same time.
Okay, but I'm asking a question. The trees aren't going in the road, right?
They're not going in the road because they have traffic mark.
Right. Well, I'm
just telling you where the cashew trees they need trimming. Need some work done there, pass there practically every day.
Okay. Well, I
walk there. That's why I take my exercise.
I'm just asking you to be patient with me because trees grow on land, on people land.
No, the tree at the side of the road, the edge of the concrete mat.
Okay, all right.
It's nobody's land.
Okay, I hear you. I will have the team come and take a look.
Please, man, because this is a tourist country, and those people will come into the area with their buggies and everything, bike riding and everything, and they got to be dodging from branches and everything. Isn't that right?
Okay, all right. Thank you for that, and that's something that is the first that I'm hearing of that coming over, but I thought that I would mention that, of course, whether or not this is growing outgrowth on people's land, because that's an issue that we're having.
No, it's not on people's land at all.
Okay. All right, I hear you. I understand, and as I said, we will have to take a look at it. All right? Thank you very much.
Okay, sir.
All right.
All right.
So the reason I asked that question, the caller, is, as I said, because we've been having a bit of a challenge in terms of our people not being responsible and not ensuring that their lands are cleared. And so everybody calls the government and says to the government, oh, you must come and clear this place and you must come and clear that place, when in reality it is the responsibility of landowners to keep their lands in an appropriate state. Just recently in the federal parliament we would have passed legislation to try and address that. You go across the length of St. Kitts and Nevis, you see a bunch of abandoned homes, you see overgrown lots, and it is a very unfair, unreasonable thing when I have built my house and you allow your property to deteriorate to the point where it now impacts negatively the value of my property. It is not fair. And so our people need to be responsible. It's a word that I keep using. They need to be responsible and do the right thing. A lot of our people who are overseas have simply abandoned their properties here. Don't look back over their shoulder. Those properties now become breeding grounds for rodents, various vectors, mosquitoes, and then the neighbors are being adversely affected. Let's take this call. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Well, good evening, sir. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Good evening to you.
First of all, I just salute Bingi Tiakosi for keeping the fire burning, the Buckley's riot, and condemn the ungratefulness of the population. But the sacrifice that was made in Buckley's by our people has benefited us more than that when they go to the War Memorial on November time. But when people spend more time at the memorial, reverencing them dead, they deserve that. But the greatest sacrifice was made at Buckley's for us. But the ungrateful politicians and preachers and people, members of society, turned their back on that sacrifice, and woe beyond the thing is for that. So the second thing I like to send my sympathies to the Miss Maureen Stapleton and to pass the higher penalty for use for the deceased, and to the family of Masito and all the other people who were left to mourn for this time, these past time. I didn't really get to call in and sound my voice, you know. And the third thing I want to say, I mean, the racist policies of America is coming to the forefront. As in, America is a right-wing country, as Donald Trump enforcing his right-wing ideology. And I hope that's a wake-up call for us in the Caribbean to unite, because this divide and rule, really politics and society that I see that we're building, ain't get us nowhere. Our country won't go forward as individuals with one party leading the next one behind, because they will manipulate. They are still manipulating us. It's 400 years after slavery and we still be manipulated into the divide and rule, really pull down and pull and play against one another. And we have a common interest to work on. Sensible people have a common interest to work on, can see the priorities, the common interest, but instead involving degrading each other for benefit of who? For benefit. It's a premises. And we can't see that we went to university, we went to school with the art and the education, and we in the none. And the fourth one want to condemn this whole law. This law business, they see them there at the big opening of law form there. And all of them see them there in the Caribbean, and what America trample on the sovereignty of the Caribbean islands and never open them out as an association. Trample on the sovereignty of all these Caribbean, judicially, politically, and military, and otherwise, dominate. And they want to say law masters and law lords. They condemn this whole corrupt system because what? Only poor people, children go to jail. Rich people when they do anything, they go free. And that is the rottenness of this system we call justice in this Caribbean. Give thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, caller. I really appreciate your call and your strong views as always. It is 20 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. And of course, we continue to take your calls at 469-1616 and 469-1700. Going back to the issue of deportations, it means certainly that we need to be prepared. I have and continue to call on our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, our Ministry of National Security, the OECS and CARICOM to come up with a policy. The standoff, diplomatic standoff that we saw between Colombia and the United States is something, I think, which is a warning of what is to come. President Trump is obviously the type of leader that will use the might of the United States against us if he does not get his own way. And we therefore need to do what we need to do as countries, using what resources are available to us to prepare ourselves and to develop coherent and consistent policies. I would really like to see us have a CARICOM-wide approach in relation to this issue of deportees. Now, don't get me wrong. If we have people in these countries illegally, then they have every right to send those people back because they're there illegally. The mere fact that you're undocumented or illegal means that you have not gone through the proper process of being in those countries. What I'm concerned about is our readiness and preparedness to receive our people, because once they are our people, we can't deny them. And that, I think, is important. I'll come back to it, but I'll take this call. Good evening, you're on the mark.
I'm sorry, the last thing I wanted to say is to give some praise to Prime Minister Joe, because last year, when the leader Pam said that if we cannot support the double salary, nobody said nothing, but he followed her advice this year, and everybody wanted him to kill. But we did not kill Natasha when she said we cannot sustain that last year. The people too is so easy to manipulate, and hear them slinging in, swiping after Dr. Joe because he ain't give them double salary. But what about when Natasha said we cannot sustain it last year? And she should have been up in her voice supporting Dr. Joe this year. But the divisive politics make me cannot say that, Mr. Brantley. I listened from a fan and say, last year she said that, we can sustain it. Dr. Joe followed that advice. He cut it and used it another way. And what do? Everybody really lynching Dr. Joe. He should have given double salary. I guess stupid politics, Calypsonian singing a song. I mean, it sounds a derogatory from far. That he says don't even make he got any common sense. This thanks.
Okay, thank you very much again for your comments. Going back to the issue of the potential for mass deportations. We don't know whether or not President Trump is going to really maintain this momentum that he appears to have. But we have to be prepared. And we have to be prepared to deal with the possible return of our people here. We have to be prepared with the possibility that people may come back who have no ties, no connections, and sometimes even no family here. Let's again go to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Eternal love and greeting, Brother Premier.
Good evening to you.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Give thanks for the love of the Almighty and give thanks for the ancestors. Now, good night to your listeners via radio and internet, and your Facebook, as you call Facebook, and your YouTube server. Just to support the caller there with the outline of the commemoration for the 90th anniversary, and we like to state to the general public is 2 days equal, on the 28th and on the 29th. So today, on the 29th, our forebears them were able to go on the other side from east and west of the island to emphasize their unstirred of what they were facing in that time of 1935. So we like to say respect to all who are able to come out and give the support vibrantly to give our ancestors the willing core, but we are standing in this core of your call tonight that our people need to be recognized as national heroes and sheroes. Our people need to have a national holiday that mark the day for our people. That stage where it's coming now to be union representation. Now we see all formality of different unions have been sprung out from since that incursion of the uprising. And it's grateful to see that we have a society, both in singing and music. And I'm not here to say so. Not even take the initiative stand to say, let us play a critical role in honoring the martyrs. And as I state, we are not here to look at any political fund. It's a national fund, and it's the interest of our people to realize why are we able to have these things. I heard you talk in your brief address about opportunity. Well, these are the gravitation of how opportunity comes. And even in the time in 1896, we like to emphasize there was a call for the Portuguese uprising. And even on Nevis, we know there's information that's shared on the outside they called Morning Star, where African people were able to rally the core and defend against the French invasion. What we're doing, bring these things to our educational status to raise our people what we are.
So I would like to say to you, you being the Premier of Sinkit, of Nevis, and you are member of the Federal Parliament. Tomorrow I having a federal discussion to build. So we would like to see some more emphasis on this administration aligning with all in the aspect. Let us have some better format in the curriculum, both in Sinkit and Nevis when it comes to African attribution in these developments that we are certainly going forward to emphasize our youth development for better within the global market. Because this global market is ahead, but is where we can be suited in how we know to have the challenges that are coming. So may you might be hopeful for the love of the Almighty guiding you and your family. And I would like to extend again happy 90th anniversary to our ancestors in the 1935 Bucket Uprising, and 2 years after Marcus Garvey come to the shores of Sinkit and speak vision about the standard of our people, who we have to lift up our head high and not be afraid of this evil system, because Babylon, your days are doomed. Have a blessed night. Give thanks.
Thank you very much. While I was listening to this call, I got a note here. And this note is from a good friend of mine. He says, "Good evening. My firm is looking for an accountant with a CPA or ACCA designation." And this is from somebody at Trident Trust. They're saying to call 469-1817. If you are an accountant with a CPA or ACCA designation, they're looking for someone. Please call Trident Trust 469-1817. Jobs again, opportunities again, all that is happening here. And so we continue to invite calls at 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. I was making a point before this caller that obviously we need to look to determine what happens when people come back. We need a plan to determine when persons come back, whether or not those individuals have ties here, where they're going to live, what work are they going to do, etc. Of course, there are also people in the United States who may be undocumented, but who have worked for all these years and who have acquired some wealth. And for those individuals, the question really arises as to whether or not they ought not to voluntarily come home. I have said to many of our people in the diaspora that whatever the circumstances that cause them to leave St. Kitts and Nevis, that St. Kitts and Nevis has developed significantly since then, and that there are a number of opportunities, business, job, and otherwise here. In fact, you out there may well be able to come here and help us in terms of our development. You may well come in and invest. You may well bring skills and a wealth of knowledge. And that is why the Nevis Island Administration has just published our new Returning Nationals and Diaspora Investment Policy. I invite all to take a look at it, because we are offering significant concessions to our people to come home. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, caller. You're on the mark.
Good evening, Premier.
Good evening, my brother. I'm doing well.
Oh, good to hear that. Premier Brantley, I'm listening to you, right? And I have been doing some thinking along the same line for some time now, as to why is it that people are not taking up the available opportunities that is before them, regardless to salary or country that you have to go to or whatever. Because I know for my own self, I left here around 1980 and went to Tartola. Did not even know where I'm going to sleep. And was able to work and make my own living. I left here, I went to New York. I went by my cousin in about 3 weeks' time. I had to leave and go on my own. And I tell people all the time, sometimes I feel like I walk from Nevis to Trinidad in one day, looking for work in New York. And sometimes they laugh. I used to just walk every job site I see I go and ask. I left again and I went to St. Thomas, not knowing where I'm going to sleep again. When I reach St. Thomas, I don't know where I'm going to sleep. And I left all these countries employing natives of the countries. Every one of them, including the United States. But you know, I have been doing some deep thinking, and a couple of things that I noticed, you know. Firstly, St. Kitts and Nevis has reached a level of, I don't know whether I should use the word prosperity, but I will use it. And so, people know, you know, when there is hardship and people really see a need, they're more prone to move, you know, but when things are easy, people get careless. Because remember, there is cause and effect why things are, you know. There must be reason why people are not doing it. We may not know all the reasons, but of course there are reasons. And so, it seemed to me like that life has become kind of easy in St. Kitts Nevis, and that is why you can refer back to our elders when things were hard, how determined they were to make a living. Now, anyway, that being so, what I would say though is that the parent, the immediate family, and even the extended family, the schools, the church, community-based groups, cultural groups, and even the government, which you are trying now, have a role to play to encourage these people and to explain to them that economies go up and down all over the world. And if it is that we are experience a level of good progress here now, it will not always be so. So, in any case, people need to prepare themselves. And also, this is a changing world where the world is changing so fast now that any skill that you can acquire, you need to grab it. Any skill that you can acquire. Man, if I was younger, sometimes I feel like I'm going crazy. Because if I was younger, man, I would be trying to do all sorts of things. Because things are changing so fast now. What may work today may not work next year. And so, we need to start inculcate these things into the young people. I don't think enough of that is being done. People are just saying, oh, well, in their mind, oh, things is not too bad. And so they just don't care. But we have to remind them that it's a changing world now. And they must grab any opportunity. And even if you want to be an electrician, and you have to go and do a little landscaping so long, go ahead and do that. And who knows, you may still go on and do electrical work, but you still also have that landscaping skills. I just want to encourage the young people to take up the opportunities that is before them. Don't let them pass.
Colin, can I ask you a question, please?
Yes.
Do you think that, let's localize it to Nevis, because I know the voice, I know you know me, and I know that you're in the community. Do you think in Nevis, based on what you're seeing, that we run the risk that our Nevisians will get left behind?
Well,
let me before you answer, let me tell you why I asked the question. The people who I see seem to be hustling. The people who I see seem to be grabbing every opportunity are the people who have come seeking better.
Exactly.
Just like when you say you went to New York and what you did. I went there myself and what I did. But I am finding that some of our own people are laid back. They're just, as you say, maybe it is that we've become affluent. We're doing well. People are just relaxed. So when that happens, because you know, you and I know, we both come from a generation that understands that if you're going to succeed in life, you have to work.
You have to work hard.
And so I am now curious and say, well, when some of our people, not all, But some of our people decide that they just want to take it easy. They now fight up themselves. And then somebody else comes in here from one of our neighboring islands, and they hustling 2 and 3 jobs and doing what they need to do because of the opportunities that they see here. I tell people all the time, caller, I said, nobody is leaving their home to come to Nevis unless they see opportunity. People now come go look for hard life. They come because they see opportunity. And when they come and they seize the opportunities, and they're working, and they're making the money, and they go and they buy the car and they buy the house,
you get angry. You get angry. I have a certain employee who I give work all the time, and the same thing he keep telling me, oh, they coming in here and taking the jobs and this and that and all sort of thing. I said, look, you are from here, so you don't have to concern yourself so much with that. You get yourself into position to take some of the work. That's what you do. Because you're right here, they have to come, they have to resettle on all those things. You're from here, you get yourself in a position to take some of the work and also try to learn what you're doing as much as possible. Don't just be careless in what you do and don't learn the skills properly. And then when they come in with skills, because some of these people come in from larger countries and so on, and when they come with their skills, and then you see them walking, you just stay there and say, oh, they come here and they're taking work. I never had that attitude yet. Never yet. If I had that attitude, I wouldn't get nowhere. I wouldn't get nowhere. But I'm saying, though, the whole society as a whole need to know, start to talk these things to the younger people and to let them know, yes, you may have a reasonable level of living right now, but things change. The world is changing very fast. And whatever skills you can acquire, do it now. I'll tell you something, you ask the question, and I have to say an emphatic yes, because if we, the division, sit down and be careless, don't grab the opportunities, and also don't try to acquire the skills too, because it's not just to go on the job and be lazy and don't try. I tell people all the time, in New York, a company hire you, and after a while, if they feel that you are not an asset and bring in something new, they will even let you go. They will even let you go. These kind of things are unheard here, but I see them things for myself. They want you, when you come here, after a while, you can bring something to the company. And I keep telling people here, you take up the opportunity, and when you go, try to learn as much as possible too. Because people are coming from large countries where they've been exposed to many things, and if they come with their skills, and you play careless, and then they take up the job, then whose fault that is? Whose fault? You know how many people in Nevis here, how many guys in my trade, I have to plead with I've been pleading with for maybe the past 25, 30 years. I said, partner, go and get a construction license now, because in the future you're going to have to do a test. In St. Thomas, you know the rigorous test I had to do to acquire my construction license. And I tell you, I have my construction license for St. Thomas, and I don't even have a green card. You know what I'm telling you? And I had to encourage several guys. I said, boy, right now, go and grab your license. $500, go and get the license now, because people are coming in here certified and so on and thing, and later on it's going to be very difficult for you to get a license. But I go back to say, though, because I don't want to be all night. We are calling upon the different bodies to start to let the young people know this instant gratification that has been pushed, especially on social media and so on now, where they're looking on TV and see, oh, everything come quick. It's not really so it really go. It's hard work and dedication that will bring success. You may get something quick here today, but easy come what happen? easy go. So I'm calling upon the young people and the not too young people to take up this opportunity. I'm begging them. It's going to benefit you later on in life. Good night.
Thank you very much, brother. I think you, as the old people say, you talk with all. And I really appreciate the call, and I appreciate the sentiments that you would have expressed, because I have been fighting that battle, and I believe all of us need to fight that battle. We need the society where all of us, those who are coming to join us to contribute, and those who are here, born here, that we join hands to build Nevis and build St. Kitts. That has to be the approach. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Mr. Brantley. How are you doing, Mr. Premier?
Good evening to you. I'm doing well, thank you.
Okay. Just a couple of things. I don't want it to be too controversial tonight. One, we had a situation from...
Caller, you could lift your voice a bit. We're not hearing you so clearly.
Yes, so we had a situation some weeks ago where, you know, the system was plastered in voice notes and whatever that were made by the Honorable. And I say Honorable because she is Honorable Pat Bradley about the doctors at the hospital, which we know was adopted tape.
It was what you said?
A doctored tape.
It was doctored?
Yeah, the same.
Okay.
The same people who were talking about the doctors and defending the doctors and saying all kind of things. We never realized that the same doctors we are trying to defend were working in a mold-infested environment. That's one. Two, we had a budget that was passed last year in December. We have the three biggest projects I think Nevis probably has ever seen in 1 year. The airport, the Alexandria Hospital, and we have geothermal. And to this point, we have only heard about a $20 million guarantee for a loan that the NIA has to go to the National Bank and get. There has been no concrete evidence or any kind of word that these projects can be financed by anyone. Why would you, as the Premier of Nevis, want to have a budget and introduce these projects knowing that there is no financing available? I'll listen off you.
All right, caller. Thank you very much. Caller, let me deal with your second question first, because it betrays a lack of understanding of the budgetary process. The budgetary process each year sets out plans and programs, and it sets out where the funding is likely to come from for those plans and programs, but with the caveat that where there is the funding is not available or not immediately available, then those plans and programs will carry over to the next fiscal year. That issue, actually, I dealt with that issue in my press conference, because I have heard the opposition in Nevis making heavy weather what I think is a non-issue. In 2010, for example, under an NRP administration, there was a budget deficit of $42 million. In the budget that was presented, put differently, they had expenditure or intended expenditure which was $42 million more than the revenue. That is not unusual, because what that does, it sets out this is what we would like to do. For example, it could well be that in December, when the budget is read, that we have not yet finalized the financing that we hope to be able to achieve, and that financing may not be achieved until June, just drawing a reference. But that is the way the process works. And I think if we take time to understand the process, we wouldn't get ourselves into these types of contortions, because these processes are not new. Unfortunately for us, a lot of us like to talk. We want to be public speakers and public figures, but we don't educate ourselves before we engage. You started out by saying that we plastered something that was doctored. Caller, I believe I've spent now nearly 20 years of my life in politics. I don't doctor things. When people, especially public figures, make their statements, they must be able to stand behind them. And if they misspoke or they want to say they were misunderstood, then they must come back to the public, say they misspoke or they misunderstood, and apologize. But don't come and tell me about anything being doctored. I'm not in the doctoring business. The lady said what she said, and everybody heard her say what she said. And when you say these things publicly now, people have the ability to go back. It's on YouTube. It's everywhere. All of these shows, a year from now, you could check on the show and see what was said. So this notion of doctoring, please leave that aside. There was an attack on our doctors, and the NRP has been consistently attacking our young people. I believe the party needs to come to grips with that, because it is unhelpful. And the leader has been silent, and she needs to lead on that issue and correct that nonsensical and really unfortunate approach that as a political party asking the same young people to put them in office, they keep attacking young people. You bring up this thing about mold. I don't know what else to tell you, because the Ministry of Health has been very clear that the areas at the hospital downstairs that have been impacted by mold are not occupied, that those areas have been vacated, that we have brought in PAHO since last year, late last year. We're waiting on those recommendations in order to remedy the situation. All of a sudden, it seems that the only thing NRP can talk about is mold. Caller, I'm pretty sure wherever you are calling from, if you were to do a test, there's mold there. There's mold everywhere. All that we can do is to seek to manage it and keep it within acceptable health standards. So going into an abandoned area at the hospital, downstairs in the basement, taking pictures and videos and trying to suggest that the entire hospital is infested with mold, it's just being dishonest. It reminds me of one of your spokespersons who alleged one day in an alarmist post that we had a cockroach infestation at the Ivor Walters Primary School and the kitchen had to be closed, and called on me. How? Because it's my fault that this place is infested with cockroaches. When I called the principal there in horror at what I was seeing, the principal said, what? Complete lie. Not a thing or so. Kitchen open, serving the students, and all is well. So caller, let's just agree to disagree on some of these matters. Let's go back to the phones. We have 12 minutes left. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Good evening, you're on the air.
Good evening, Mark.
Good evening to you.
Mark, when you talk about mold, the hospital got mold, the government place have mold. Not for we house, not for we home got mold too. Not for the homes that full of mold, so what they gone with the government place got mold, not for we homes got mold, if you check. What going on with this mold thing ain't finished? The hospital got mold, the government place got mold, you home, them home got mold too? Huh?
But that's the point, Carla, mold is everywhere. You know?
Mold they all over. Mark, in your house you got mold. My house have mold. The government place got mold. What we could do? What could happen? What could stop this mold? I want to know what could stop the mold, because everybody is stressing about this hospital with mold and the government place with mold. One to the homes, one to people homes that have mold. They ain't talking about that. They're only stressing about the government place. Thank you, Mark.
Okay, thank you very much For that, I really appreciate it. And you make the point. And you say, as I said, it's just, I understand the politics. I understand the attempt at playing politics. But there's a level of stupidity. I hate to use those words, but I can only call it what it is. So mold is the big thing now. You go around, you find a pothole in a road after heavy rains. You take a picture of that. Oh, pothole. Nothing substantive. Nothing sensible. Just this constant effort at misleading and creating alarm in the country when there's no need. Now, if we had people up there working in an environment which was mold infested, I could understand, but that is not the case. And the Ministry of Health has explained that. And yet, you have people continuing with the same argument, just as if you didn't say anything. Now we're hearing tonight for the first time that tapes of Dr. Bartlett were doctored. Well, who doctored them? Who doctored them? Rather than saying to Dr. Bartlett, engage your brain before you engage your mouth. And if you can't talk sense, don't go on radio. They now say that something was doctored. I mean, I can't make this stuff up. Let's go back to the phones. We got 8 minutes left. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Yes, good night, Honorable.
Good night to you.
Oh my. I had a nice show yesterday in the place yesterday, man. I see y'all have some big water tanks.
Yes, man.
Oh man, I tell the partner, it's in this place, can't run out of water. Darling.
But that is a plan. That is what happens when you invest. We've been investing over the years.
Yeah, man, I drive around, I see some tank in the villages, some big water tank. I said, what? I said, no, man. I said, man, he ain't run out of water for how much years? 5 years. I say, well, these man really spend money in the water tank. Man, I give you all credit, man. You do sometimes. Sometimes you can put up ahead with some people. Because sometimes people that embarrass themselves because when people come into the country, they see a difference.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they try to sell a lot of things. But yesterday, I was running around yesterday to a lot of villages, and I see a lot of water tanks. I say I have to call you and tell you, man, I spend some money to have people. Have water in the country.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I give you all credit, man.
All right, brother. Thank you.
All
right. Thanks a million. I really appreciate that. We have 6 minutes to the hour. We're taking your calls. Let's go right back to the phones. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Well, Brantley, I have to call back again.
Yes.
We in this island going to have to raise the level of discourse when it comes to politics. I'm talking about the two parties. Because, there's criticism. Now, let me ask this. I can support any one of the parties in EBC. I know all the ministers and all the people there. All of them are my friends. But let me ask this question. So if the people who are saying these kind of things should win government tomorrow, you're going to knock down the hospital? They're going to knock down the hospital, or are they going to continue to have that same hospital? I mean, when I say where's the conversation, I'm talking about all the politicians. Because they have to remember that the general public listening, and not everybody so foolish. If the opposition win the next election, I don't think they're going to knock down the hospital. And I don't think they would be in a position to build a new hospital right away. So what you will have to do, you try to work the best you can with what you have until you can do better. In every part of the world is not the same thing. I don't understand, I would just hope that the politicians, CCM, NRP, they would try to not criticize so much and see how we can move the country forward. Good night.
All right, thank you very much. And caller, I understand the sentiment, and I understand you put CCM in there because you want a balanced view. But I think the noise that you're hearing isn't coming from CCM. CCM has been quite steady. CCM has been trying to deal with the issues. We're not saying that things are perfect, but we have been making progress. And the noise that you keep hearing and the type of utterances that you keep hearing, the attacks on young people, for example, that's not coming from CCM. So while, yes, we have our own shortcomings on this point, I will defend the CCM because we have been resolute in our position that our people must be at the center. I come here every Wednesday. The conversations that I try to engage in when I'm here is conversations to encourage our people and to say, let us not attack and denigrate and be vitriolic towards our people, especially our young people. So some of the things that are being said, you're making a big political issue over mold. Mold is a naturally occurring phenomenon. It's like if rain falls tomorrow and a pothole emerges in the road, you make a big political issue over it. Well, what are you going to do? Stop the rain from falling? Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, caller. You're on the mark. Hello?
Yes, good night. I am so late. I'm so late. Let me just read a couple verses here.
Okay.
Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by the elders obtained a good report. Here ended the reading for tonight. And I sent to the hospital today to get my medication, and I got all of them. So I don't know. You have a good night, and God bless you.
Thank you very much.
All the best to you. Bye-bye.
I'm very grateful, and I'm grateful you got your medication. You know, it is one of the things, again, efforts at mischief. All the medication at the hospital. I mean, it's nonsensical. There are times when, because of a particular drug or because of a particular circumstance, you have to send to Synkits to get, just as Synkits will send over here to get from time to time. Your supplies may be late in coming. These things happen. But everything is a crisis. It's a crisis. What crisis? What crisis? And these are the difficulties that I have, because if you keep calling Wolf, you know, you keep calling Wolf, and when the Wolf actually shows up, nobody may respond because you're accustomed to call Wolf. So if there's cockroach at a school now and you say so, nobody going to study you because you don't lie and say cockroach infesting and school shut down over there, we're not go so. Let's take this last call and say good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Yes, hello, good night.
You're our last caller, you have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, you just said something a while ago which is very interesting. Compared to the last show you had, as it relates to the mold situation at the hospital, where you said on your last show you saw these videos and pictures on Facebook or social media. Let me try to be exact.
Caller, please, you're running out of time, so please hurry.
Yeah, and you said you didn't have any clue about what's going on. You said you go to the hospital on a regular basis, the deputy premier, you said the Minister of Health, she reports on a weekly basis. You have a WhatsApp cabinet group or whatever. And you had no clue about this mold situation.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden now, you're saying tonight that Tahoe was there last year and did a report. And nobody knew about it.
Okay,
You didn't know about it last week.
Caller,
So you know about this week.
all right. We have to end it there. I'm sorry, but time is up. But just to tell you that what I indicated was that I wasn't aware that there was any crisis, because what I saw sought to suggest that there was a crisis of mold at the hospital. I am not aware of that. Until this day, I'm not aware of that, because the issues that arose at the hospital in relation to that area are being dealt with, and that no one, no member of staff, no member of the public, no patient has been exposed to any mold at the Alexandra Hospital. So the point I'm trying to raise, if there was an issue, then that issue would have come to my attention. But there hasn't been an issue. Mold develops and we deal with it. There's mold right now at the courthouse in Charlestown. We're dealing with it. And as I said to your caller, bring in somebody to test wherever you are right now, and you will find mold. That's just the nature of things. So, the banner struck up, we have to go. Ladies and gentlemen, we're grateful for the calls. Some came in a little late, so we couldn't accommodate everyone, but we're nevertheless grateful. This show is rebroadcast tomorrow at 1 p.m. right here on Von Radio. And for those who are into the Parliament, tune in tomorrow because the National Assembly meets on St. Kitts. God's willing, me and my team will be there. That's our show. Good night. God bless you, and have a wonderful rest.
Views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.